Welcome back to Car Guys fans from a weekend of horsepower hangover.
Let's
So,
go, man.
John, big weekend, right? Probably the biggest
Dude,
weekend in motorsports.
yeah, two great races. Very, very classic races that I think are some of the best parts of motorsport out there,
It
honestly.
was really really intense, and we got to see not just some big racing this weekend, but some history being made.
Absolutely.
The first time for a couple things in two different races, and we almost saw a really interesting connection with NASCAR. So why don't we
Yeah.
kick it off with Monaco, right?
Okay.
So I mean, you and I can both agree, right? I'd love to go
Snooze
to
fest.
Monaco and watch the race in person.
Yes.
I don't
I
have
would
that kind
love
of
to
bank
go.
account.
Now, look, man. Here's the thing. We could probably get to Monaco. Could we afford to see it the way you're supposed to? Absolutely not.
Okay, so quick fact I learned. So the largest boat in the harbor in Monaco actually used to belong to Lance Stroll's dad, Lawrence Stroll,
Yep. Yep.
and now it belongs to Nicholas Latifi's dad. Did
Yep.
you know that?
I didn't know that until today. I think I sent you the video on that, and I was like,
Ye-
"Wow, that's very interesting news." Like they got the correct change,
Oh
guys.
my God. And that boat's huge. It has its own helicopter. It
Yeah,
has it, and the helicopter stores away to open up to a basketball court, because you need
yeah,
that sort of thing on a
of
ship,
course,
right?
right? Yeah. They said
Yeah.
the operating cost of this thing was $1 million a day, like
Oh
over
yeah.
$1 million a day. Can you
Yeah, but it's a
imagine?
multi-million-dollar yacht. So I mean, $1 million a day it's all
Just
in
burning a
perspective, right?
million bucks to go watch a race, like, that's cool, no big deal. Like,
I mean, I will say, so you kind of touched on it a little bit, right? I mean, the race started off intense. I told you beforehand I really wanted to see Charles Leclerc win it
me too.
because he's
Agreed.
Monegasque, it's his home race, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I wanted him. Well, we've gotten a lot of first wins this year. Lando
Yes.
Norris got his first win of the year.
Yep.
This is the first race that Leclerc has won, and it's his home race, which is just awesome, dude.
Yeah,
That's
the
so
first
good
race
for
he's won
racing.
this year, which is really cool.
Yep, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
awesome, dude.
so, I mean, it was really cool to see it happen, and it's the first time it's happened to a Monegasque since what, 1931, if I remember correctly, right?
I
So
think
it's
so. They
been a
put the
minute.
date out. That's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
super
been a
cool.
minute.
Yeah,
And I was really happy for him. I mean, you could see when he won it. I mean, he's won races in the past, but he was really excited to win this one. And how could you
the
not
way
be?
he
His friends and family were there and everything, you know?
absolutely, man. The way he came out of the car, man, was just like, oh man, you could feel it. Like it was good,
Yeah.
man. A little
Yeah.
bit of other things about the race. We had Perez had a really bad off in the first 3 laps, and they restarted the race from a red flag. It was
I
in the first
mean,
lap. They didn't even
I
finish
mean,
the
let's
first
be
lap.
honest. That was
So
just unnecessary. I mean, I feel like
I don't know what
Magnuson
K
went
Mag was
for a,
doing, man.
I don't know.
Like I don't know what he was doing, man. I was just like kind of set back by it. Like you had nowhere to go. You ran out of wall. The
No,
wall
and
ran into you. Like no, that's not the case, brother.
and the argument was he didn't give him the space, but
Yeah.
3 into 1 doesn't really work in that area. I mean,
Yeah, it's tough, man. And
it
I'm
got
still
everybody.
kind of step back by what Perez was doing. He opened the door for him really, and that ran him out of road. And then sure enough, K Mag's right there, and that just creates this massive. And that was a massive off, dude. Like that was a
It
bad wreck.
was. Now I'm impressed by the tethers on the car. Did you see that?
Yeah,
It
yeah. He
managed to
packed
hold
both
all the
front wheels
tires so they
underneath the
did.
car. Yeah,
Yeah, I was pretty
it's pretty
impressed by that.
good.
Did you see the interaction between Max Verstappen and George
Oh
Russell?
yeah, oh yeah. But I mean, you can't. He could do nothing. And
No,
George had an
nothing.
18-second gap. I mean, he was given Hamilton free pit stops. It's
Yeah.
like he's just not he can't defend. He's managing tires just to finish the race in that position. And it's like and Max is just back there like, dude, what can I do? I can't go around him. I can't get past him. I can't defend. It's like this is just boring. And I
Yeah.
get that. I mean, it's a small track. Did you watch the Formula 2 race?
I did not. I don't have access to do that
A
because
lot
I
of
still don't
action.
have F1 TV. So
Oh, dude, you got to get F1 TV, dude. It
I'm gonna
is
fix
worth
it.
it.
I'm gonna fix it.
Oh,
Yeah.
fix it, man. Because the F2 race actually had a lot of action. It was a really good, entertaining race to watch. It was not
Well, they're
boring at
smaller
all,
cars.
but they're smaller cars.
Yeah.
And at one point, I said, dang, it almost looks like they're going faster than the Formula One cars. I was incorrect on that, by the way. My buddy was like, no, John, they clicked off. Like, he's clicking off the times. And he's like, yeah, no, the fastest lap was like a 116. And And in the Formula 2 cars, I think their fastest lap was like 124 or something like that. So yeah, no, hey, whatever. But to me, it looked like it was more action, more fun. They could go 3 wide through some of the parts
Right.
and just, but in the end of the day, it's a small track. It's not meant for
Yeah.
the new cars. And you can see it. Like it's like taking a
Yeah.
Viper to Tail of the Dragon being behind a Miata. And that's just, in the straights, he's slow. In the corners where I can be fast as well, I can't do anything because there's a Miata
Right.
right there,
Right.
So yeah.
No, it was definitely, kind of boring in the middle, but in the
Yeah.
end, I was just pulling for him. I didn't want anything to
Absolutely.
happen, But I
Right.
mean, crazy, right? Ferrari, McLaren,
Yeah.
right? You only had one Red Bull to finish the race. He wasn't in the top 3, in the top 5, which is really
Yeah.
crazy,
It's different.
right? Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a different race, and I
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that we've seen multiple winners this year, right? Because that
Right.
is something that's interesting to me as well.
Really changing it up. Yeah.
Yeah, but then fast forward, right, later on in the day. So we had the Indy 500, arguably the biggest race that you could possibly go to,
Yep.
maybe in all of motorsport, right? I mean, we have people from
Absolutely.
all different, motorsport backgrounds that are participating in this, right? So you've
Yeah.
got like 30 plus drivers that are participating in Indy 500, right?
Yeah, man. And so like we follow Marcus Ericsson, we follow Pat O'Ward,
Yep.
we follow a lot of people from Formula One like Grosjean and all that. And sure enough, man, first lap, Marcus Ericsson, he's out of the race. He also didn't qualify well, so he's starting in the back.
No, he
It's
didn't
just not
qualify
a good,
well.
not a good race for him, man.
Yeah.
And then Pat O'Ward, man, he was so close. Dude.
I'll tell you what, it hurt me, right? Because I was really pulling for Pato,
Yeah.
and you could see. I don't know if you watched the last couple laps, but he was
I did.
hard charging. He
Yep.
came up right behind Joseph Newgarden and backed off the throttle.
Yeah,
And
because
I
he
was
didn't
like,
want to be the one to put the toe.
exactly. I was like, oh,
It's
he's
yeah,
waiting. He's waiting.
yeah,
He's biding his time, and I think he went too early.
yep, and he
And
did.
he passed him, and all I could think to myself was break the toe, pull away, pull away,
Yep,
pull away, and he couldn't do it. And then
yep,
Joseph Newgarden pulled right around him.
yeah,
But I mean, again, Joseph Newgarden is the first back-to-back winner,
yep, and he's
since
from Indianapolis.
I didn't know that.
Yep,
I
from
didn't know he's
Indianapolis,
from
dude.
Indy.
Yep,
Yeah. But he's
dude,
the first
it's awesome,
back-to-back winner
man.
since 2001, 2002, right? When Castroneves won it. Right. So, I mean, that was a big deal. And I don't know if you heard him talking about it, but he got like a $400,000 bonus
Yep.
on top of the money he won. And literally, I mean, he walked away from that race with like $4 million or something like that, It was
Just a weekend
crazy.
on Lance Stroll's yacht, right?
Right.
Lawrence Stroll's
Right.
yacht.
Yeah. No, it was
Yeah,
crazy. I'll tell you, it's definitely one of those, races that was just exciting. But I mean,
yeah,
who knew? If you watched it in the morning, pouring rain, lightning, everything, 4-hour delay. I thought they'd delay it until Sunday, honestly. And then all
yeah.
of a sudden the sun comes out and they managed to have a really decent race. I mean,
It was
that
a
was
good one.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Indy, I want to go back to another Indy race. I was talking to Jessica and I was like, let's try to go to, I want to do the one in Nashville. I just think it'd be a ton of
Yeah.
fun. It's something different. And she loves Nashville. So I think it would be great. But we'll see.
Nashville's
Man.
pretty cool. And they do a lot of like other stuff during that
Yeah.
weekend. So it makes for a really, really interesting weekend. I'd be down to meet you up there and go to that.
Let's do it. Man. Let's go.
So you've got those two races. Now, the other interesting connection, right, was you had a NASCAR driver who qualified in the Indy 500 and actually led a few laps towards the end. Yeah, well, he was in the Fast Six, but he led a few laps toward the end. And
that shows how good
his plan, his plan was to leave there and go to Charlotte and race in Charlotte.
Oh, I bet that messed him up when the weather delays hit.
It did.
Oh man.
That would have been a crazy, or what was it? I think it was Charlottesville. That would have been a crazy, just series of events, right? If he had done well in Indy 500, left and went and won the NASCAR race,
So
it would
a
have
few
been
drivers have done that in the past. It wasn't NASCAR. Usually it was like Formula One or something like that. And it's pretty crazy to think that they've got that kind of mental capacity to go out and do a long race. That's an 80 lap race, right?
Yep.
I think I don't quote me on the laps, but it's a very long race. And then Monaco is a very long race, and so is the NASCAR races. They're very long races.
Yeah.
So that's wild, man, to think he would just go straight from car to car like that.
So for
Sick.
those of you who don't know, and actually I didn't know, I had to get educated on this, right? For those of you who don't know, if there's an episode of Grand Tour where they talk about Jim Clark. And for those of you who don't know anything about Jim Clark, watch that episode, right?
Oh, it's good.
Here's a guy who raced in every series he could get into. And this is back before they had, these intercontinental flights that were, much faster than they are now, or much slower than they are now, rather.
Yeah.
And this guy was racing in every series known to man and killing it too.
Yeah. He's the first one with the Triple Crown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sick, man.
So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I mean, there's something, it's a guy that I don't think of when I think of, I think of Fangio, I think of Senna, I think of Schumacher, right? You can put some of the modern, racers in that category as well. But I don't really think of Jim Clark. If you don't know anything about him, go check him out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big name, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
So, I mean, outside of racing this weekend, like I said, I mean, it's really kind of a horsepower hangover. Yeah. Outside of racing this weekend, you picked up a car.
I did
this weekend. What did you pick up?
So I traded the Audi. Audi is Audi 5000, if you will. And yeah, man, made an even trade for a Nissan 370Z Nismo, and I plan to make it my track daily. And I've already looked at all the things I want to make it that, and I'm excited about it, dude. It's a fun car. It's not super fast, but you can have that much fun around town, Just a good driver car, and I like that. So
yeah, now that's that car guy math, right? Which is buy the car, add mods to it, add more mods to it, add more mods to it, right? All to track it.
I had already maxed out the Audi as far as I could go with APR, and I was like, okay, I've had my fun, and it was super fast. I mean, it was 498 horsepower car and at stock that car was 230. So to go that far was big, and I had a great time with it. And the kid that got it, he loves it. He's super excited about it, and I'm excited for him. So it's going to be a great car for him, and I'm excited about the Z, man. It's going to be a ton of fun for me. So
tell everybody why you decided to track the Z rather than just keep it. And
so I mean, I like doing track days. I enjoy it, and now that I work for APR and Dining, I get kind of hooked up on like the race quip stuff and all the things you need to actually track a car correctly. And I really do enjoy track days. I enjoy pushing a car to see what the limits are. And I had a 350Z back in the day and never tracked it. So this is my chance to go back and I guess relive my 20s, like my wife says.
I'll tell you, I had a conversation this weekend with one of my friends. We were talking about cars, and he wanted me to go to the mountains with him. And I had the McLaren out this weekend. I had the Aston out this weekend, and he said to me, he was like, "Hey, man, we need to get you up in the mountains." I said, "No, I need to get you on the track."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I don't know if I want to be on the track." He's like, and I said, "Well, on the track, you don't have to worry about, typically you don't have to worry about wildlife. You don't have to worry about police officers. You don't have to worry about distracted drivers, people on their phone. You don't have to worry about, just drivers that don't have the same skill level that you do. Right. And I told him, I said, it's a safer environment. He said, well, my whole thing is I'd be afraid that I'm going to try and push my car to the limit. And I said, just be aware that you're about the same age as I am. And when you get to the track on a track day, there is nobody there looking to put you in Formula One tomorrow. There's nobody there looking to put you in Indy or NASCAR.
Absolutely.
Right? Go out there and ride on your limit and become a better driver. Look for apexes, look for exits, figure out when to get on the throttle, figure out when to get in the braking zones, right?
Absolutely.
That's what you should be focused on track days.
That's right.
If you're the fastest person on a track day, guess who cares? Nobody.
Right. And that's the other thing. Like for me, I'd rather have a slower car on the track and go have the most amount of fun and not have a ton of money invested in it than to take like the McLaren and go out there and know that it's going to be probably 10 times my limit anyways, and go out there and really push myself over the limit and learn that, I just wrecked a way more expensive car, right? So for me, the Z
Two,
is a perfect daily
I
track,
get that.
whatever. You know what I mean?
One of the most profound things somebody said to me a long time ago was, that really, if you're it's a lot more fun, and this goes not just with motorcycles but cars as well, but it's a
Yeah.
lot more fun to drive a slow car or slow bike fast
Yep.
than it is to drive a fast car slow. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when you're on a 400cc motorcycle or 300cc motorcycle and you're just banging through the gears and you got that thing topped out on
Yeah.
a small track, I mean, you feel like you're doing something, right? If you're on a
Right.
1000cc bike and you're in the same gear the whole time, just rolling off and on the throttle, there's not as
Absolutely.
much activity going on. Same thing with a car.
Yep.
So if you're in a 370Z and you're bombing around the track, it's a lot more fun than being in a 720S,
Yeah.
right? Being,
Having to moderate the limit.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. No, man. So, I mean, and obviously I do love the supercars and all that stuff. So I definitely want those cars. But for now I'm having fun with my little Z. And
So what I'm
yeah,
hearing is I need a dedicated track car.
absolutely. You need a
That's what I'm
dedicated
hearing.
370Z, man. Come join me, man. We'll be JDM boys.
I'm not gonna lie. I called you the other day. I told you that on the way to one of the things I was doing this weekend. I was
Yeah,
actually going to look at cars this weekend. On the way to
that's
go look
right.
at cars, I drove past somebody who had a 370Z with a kit on it in bright orange with a for sale sign in the window.
Do
And I
it.
was this close to pull it over and going,
Do
how much
it.
you want for it?
Yeah, man. Just hey, look, throw them in low numbers, see if they take it.
Right? Yeah, I'll
But
give you
yeah,
10
man.
grand right now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I sense that we're going to be, getting into some trouble over the summer if this is the
Absolutely.
direction that things are taken. But really, we just wanted to get on here today,
Yeah.
make a short episode about some of the stuff that happened this weekend.
Yeah, man.
Congratulate everybody. Like I said, Joseph Newgarden had a great weekend. So
Yep.
did Charles Leclerc. I was pulling for the Tifosi. I was pulling for Ferrari. I'm glad
Yeah.
to see them both win. But we're going to make this a short episode. So really quick, thank you everybody for the response from our last episode, the engagement, the views, everything. Continue to like and subscribe. We appreciate it. And hopefully we will see you on the next one.
Absolutely, guys. See y'all later. Peace.
Bye.